So I am back here with another placement guide. It's been a while and season's about to start, so I figured it'd be a good point. So just to start off with how this works, these symbols signify the bands. The hashtag is Human Torch. The asterisk is Ghost. The @ sign is Archangel. Percentage sign is Doctor Doom, and exclamation point is Magneto. Signifying that, for example, if we look at the Spider-Ham, it means that he'll be substantially harder if Ghost is banned. Similarly, green means that it's a fight you need to watch out for and think about, and red means it's a fight that you absolutely need to bring a counter for, either that or play like an absolute legend. So just a slight, it's not perfect, but there's a 3-tier indicator of how hard they are to fight. Obviously, white means that they're the easiest. Okay, so for node 1, we have pretty standard stuff. Steady build-up Fury, the build-up referring to debuffs. It's pretty standard. Put champions debuffs. Ebb and Flow knockdown. You want champions that are hard to knock down. So you have Hit Monkey. If you knock him down, he gets all that evade and stun shrugging stuff. Psycho Man makes it so you can't use specials a third of the time. Can't knock him down that way. Makes it so that you can't block a third of the time. Can't heavy. Make it so that, well, usually can't heavy. Make it so you can't heavy a third of the time. Actually can't heavy, right? And so he also has right back at it, which is when they're knocked down. They have, I believe it's 6 seconds of being debuff immune. So that's a really good placement. Domino, just because she's Domino. Jabari Panther has to cleanse. Darkhawk punishes you after getting heavied. But Psycho Man, Hit Monkey, Domino. I really like Psycho Man here as well. It is left to right. It's important to note this, though. Left to right is how much I would recommend placing them on that node. For example, say, where's a good example? If you look at number 7, right? I have Mojo, and he's 5th. Not because Mojo's not a better placement here than Green Goblin, but because you want to save your Mojo for a harder node, right? So just because, like, he's green, which says, yeah, he's pretty hard, and he's Mojo, but you want to save some of your good champions. So left to right is how much I think you should place them on the specific node. So moving on to node 3, we have Combat Deja Vu, which is essentially Mixmaster, but with Prowess. And then Prowess Puncture, which is when they have a Prowess, they have a 60% block penetration rate. So basically, you use 2 of the same combo. Surprise, now they hit in your block really hard. And this right here should probably have a hashtag here, meaning that he's a lot harder when you ban Torch. And maybe I'll give Sasquatch one as well. Editing on the fly. There we go. Okay. So if you look at this, Mojo, basically, either you play him perfectly like Mixmaster, which isn't admittedly that hard, but if you mess up, all that blocking that you do with Mojo is going to come back and bite you. Sasquatch has all kinds of lovely nodes here. I really like Sasquatch on this node. Might be his best placement. The only reason I would place Mojo before Sasquatch is maybe because Mojo's extra hard as a defender himself. But once this node becomes pretty easy to do for a lot of people, then I think Sasquatch will be a better placement. Similarly, Dr. Doom's over on the right, but we probably want to save him for something else. So we have Arc Overload, Vigorous Assault. They are unblockable when they are regenning. Sasquatch, Anti-Venom every time it's a non-critical hit. Spider-Ham, just get backed into the corner if you don't have Archangel. Maybe if you don't have Ghost either. I might add an Insignia. I don't think it's as important here, but yeah, if you don't have Ghost, it would be a little bit harder. Mojo, if you don't have Archangel or Human Torch, it could be a problem. So mostly just get people who either put a lot of distance on you or you don't want to have to play like you're going to have to play for Vigorous Assault, is the point. You kind of want champions whose counters are countered by the node, if that makes sense. Okay, Strike Counter Fury, which is you have to hit the combo hits they want you to hit, or they will start hitting really hard. Corvus Glaive for the crit through block. Overseer, I just want to throw this one in here because I think he's a really good defender. And if he does happen to, throw the special one, and then he's, I believe it's stun immune and also has that auto block, any special, he does that. So that could be a problem. Penny Parker, but you probably want to save her. And with Frost Nimrod, pretty standard stuff. Hit Me, I Dare You. Every 10 hits, they'll get an armor up, and there's a 15% chance when they have an armor up, if you tap them, to get shocked. Similarly, if you nullify their armor ups, they'll get power. So Nimrod's really, really good here because he gets a ton of those armor ups, and armor breaks don't work on him, so the only way you normally take him is by either damage over timing him or, nullifying, right? So versus Nimrod here, you could probably just go in with Nebula, but that'd be a good one. Void would be really good because he'd have those debuffs on him and it'd hit really hard, and having to deal with multiple counts of 10, right? Because you have the 10, then you have his one where you have to count to 10. Could be a problem. Vision Arcus, if you ban Doom, could be a problem here. Okay, kinetic transference, and they can't be power stolen from. Ebony Maw, if you ban Torch, could be a problem, obviously, for a variety of reasons. Most of these are pretty standard. I'm not going to go read off a sheet that you can read yourself, but I want to explain the minutiae of some of them. Buff and balance is pretty standard. Vision Arcus here plays more to the return policy than he does the buff and balance. Obviously, Warlock on buff and balance is really, really good because he's just going to be degenning you. Hazard Shift, basically, in all Hazard Shift matchups, you're going to assume that they banned Ghost because anybody in their right mind should ban Ghost. But basically, usually Hazard Shift is three things. It's Quake, it's Ghost, and it's Red Hulk. And these first, Professor X can't be quaked. Nova can't be quaked with High Ground. MODOK can't be quaked with High Ground. Okay, you can quake Spider-Ham, but whatever. And then obviously Ghost is gonna be banned, and also they're really hard to fight with Red Hulk. So in my mind, I look for can they be quaked, and can they be Red Hulk? And ideally, if it makes it difficult for them, like with Note 18, makes it difficult. Can you quake Havoc? No. Can you quake Korg? Okay, you can quake Korg. That would be a problem. You can't quake Airwalker. You can't quake Psycho Man. You might be able to shut Psycho Man off, but it'd be pretty hard. And you can't quake Ebony Maw with High Ground. And Red Hulk would nuke Ebony Maw down like crazy, so I would not place Ebony Maw on Hazard Shift unless for some reason you want to ban Red Hulk, which you should not. You can ghost Havoc and Korg super, super easily, but she should be banned once again. City Build Up Fury, and then if you're close to them, you, get weaknesses, and then if there's a debuff, I believe for each debuff it's minus 10% ability accuracy. Void will just use those debuffs to hurt them. Pretty simple. I'd place Void there, end of story. If you're saving him for another node, place one of these. These are still decent. Okay, Ebb and Flow Knockdown, same as before. Hit Monkey, ideally, if you ban Archangel, it'll make him a lot harder. Morta, who plays with the heavy hitter, it'd be hard to get an opening. Especially if you ban White Magneto, but you probably shouldn't do that. Aggression Prowess is pretty standard, not going to go over that one. Masochism, also actually pretty standard, just some ideas here. No crazy interactions that need to be explained. Strike Counter Fury, Power Focus 1. Nimrod's really hard to dodge a special one over and over again. And Bishop, really hard to dodge a special one. By that I mean almost impossible. Also, if you're banning Ghost, so maybe we'll throw in an anti-Ghost ban there. So if you're banning Ghost, it'd be a lot harder. Ionized Armor 2, Power Focus 2. Reasonably hard node, but it's pretty standard. Energize 1. In the expert tier, this actually becomes vivified, which also means they can't be power stolen, I think, which makes it way harder. But Energize is still hard with Terrax. It's still hard with Spider-Ham because they get backed up in the corner, especially if there's no Ghost to kind of hold your ground against Spider-Ham. Sasquatch could back you into the corner in his mode, especially if you don't have Torch to nuke him down. Mysterio, we all hate Mysterio, and the last thing you need is more power gain. And Vision Arcus. Oh, that's the wrong anti-ban. That was meant to be if it's not Doom. Okay. Because that could be a problem if it's not Doom. You could just clear it, though. It's not a big deal. Okay. Buff and Balance. Same thing. Warlock. A couple other people that aren't Warlock. Pretty standard. Hazard Shift, we went over this. Ebb and Flow Knockdown. So a couple of these nodes are at play. Ebb and Flow Knockdown and Bubble Shield work with Domino. Kitty Pryde mostly for the Ebb and Flow Knockdown makes her harder to like, block and, like, do damage to. And Bubble Shield, she's stun immune when she's dashing at you, so all you have to do is, like, if she gets to 3 prowess, she could really trigger that Bubble Shield pretty easily, and it could be a problem. Havoc, you have to block him a lot. He's harder to knock down. Power Focus 1. I really like this Havoc placement because he's harder to knock down. He's going to trigger the Bubble Shield. You can't parry the first hit. And then on top of that, Power Focus 1. So enjoy. I mean, that wouldn't be that hard. You could probably just Warlock it and get out there scot-free. Ebony Maw is a really, really good placement here. But I would save him for something else. But yeah, if Torch is banned, Ebony Maw is a good placement there. Strike Counter Fury. For some reason, Stealth Spidey gets a kill there almost every single war. If you ask me why that is, I cannot tell you. He is especially hard when there is no Magneto. I don't know why people keep dying to this node. Maybe without Archangel too. I don't know why people keep dying to this node, but they always die to Stealth Spidey. I don't know why. Terax and Bishop are also quite hard there. Ebony Maw would be really difficult. Void and Thing could be interesting there. Void with the extra damage from the Strike Counter Fury. And then also the static defense shock thing, just because you have to play around all these different mechanics at once, could be a problem. Now that I say it, you could probably just She-Hulk that, so it wouldn't be that bad. But yeah, Stealth Spidey, Terax, but especially Stealth Spidey. I don't know why. He just gets kills there. Hazard Shift, Section 1 mini. Void hits really hard there. Spider-Ham, once again, get him in the corner. Both of those can be nuked down by Ghost, but she should be banned. I want to specify that she should be banned. I'll go over bans at the end, but please ban Torch and please ban Ghost. Also, Bloodstone with Suicides could be a problem. Maybe catch someone off guard. Incinerate Poison, you could either bring in... you could either bring in Apocalypse and hit in one mode. Colossus hit in one mode. Iceman, hit whenever the heck you want. Archangel and Prey, that's probably the wrong move. Don't do that, ever. You could honestly, like, there are a couple options here, but that could be a hard one if they're placing with Suicides. Power Snack, Doom with Torch banned, and also with Ghost banned, but to a lesser extent, because Ghost just gets Power Snacked, so she's not that much of a threat, but Doom, Mojo, Maw, all three of them, way harder when Torch is banned, so that's a really good node. Doom's just going to be pounding your block, and you can't really bait out his special attacks, like, that's just going to be a skill fight, which is okay. Probably also better when Archangel. So I'm thinking as I go, you know. But probably even harder if there's no Archangel, and that might be true for this Mojo as well. Okay. Mixmaster, Aggression Prowess. This is your classic node 23. Domino, Mordo, Professor X. A lot of people like placing Professor X. I'm not necessarily a fan of it. I like Mordo. I just think it's really fun. I like Domino because your best option is Sorcerer Supreme, and for some reason everybody sleeps on her. But yeah, just place whoever you want to place here. This node isn't even that hard anymore. It'll be harder when everybody's Ghost is banned, though. EMP modification, and Aspect of Evolution, Bubble Shield. For some reason, for me, on this node specifically, Apocalypse is bugged. I don't know if that's for everybody, but I know that twice now, Bubble Shield is permanent. So once they hit into my block 10 times, they're unblockable for the rest of the fight. That's happened twice with 2 different champions. I was facing Apocalypse both times. It happened with Guardian. It happened with Doom. I don't know why. But Apocalypse is still really good there. You can't Ghost it if she's banned. Can't Doom it if he's banned. Guardian pretty much is the answer, but even that's hard with Burden of Might. Maybe you could just Guardian and just take all 3 of the special one to phase. You could also Tigra it if you really wanted to. I mean, that's a hard placement. Mole Man would be hard without Ghost. Without Archangel. People don't Archangel Mole Man enough, which they should start doing. Well, once they are done finishing and facing my alliance. Ebony Maw without Torch. This node is actually a really, really hard node. Node 24. Footloose and Force of Will, Crumbling Armor, Kinetic Transference. Ebony Maw without Torch. Oh my goodness, that fight is a nightmare. Your best options are Tigra, if he's nice, and he usually isn't. If he plays really nice, or if you have Suicides, you can do it with Tigra. But, like, it's all up to the AI, and you never want to go into a fight where it's like, please, AI, save me. You can also use maybe Cap Infinity War with the tech synergy, but you might need the White Mags pre-fight. She-Hulk would work here. Stealth Spidey, I think, would work here with the slow. And then you can put a Mojo here. I mean, you could just... You can't torch it, so it's harder, but you could probably just bring in... Actually, I wouldn't necessarily say Mojo's good here, because you could just bring in Spidey 2099 with the Wither, and the Kinetic Transference will go away. So that one, if you ban Spidey 2099, is a really good placement. Then you have all these other things, Apocalypse, if it can't be ghosted, that's a problem, right? Domino can't be ghosted. All that stuff. Window of Opportunity stun. The new one is Defective Defense. Now, Defective Defense is basically like, if you block an attack, you get disoriented. And you can get rid of the disorient by like dashing back and holding block for 1.2 seconds. But basically, you can't block, which means that Bishop, that's going to be a problem. Mojo, that's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? And so those two are really, really good for it. Apocalypse is going to nuke everything here. Apocalypse would make short work of any of these. Just boost up with Apocalypse and roll through it. But no, Bishop and Mojo would be really, really hard. Anybody but Apocalypse is going to struggle on that node. Probably. Steady build up, unblockable, pretty simple. Do debuffs. Mr. Fantastic and Spider-Ham do debuffs, like, surprise. With Spry, the way it works is if Spider-Ham's awakened, you'll evade and you'll place a Spry thing. So Fatigue, you'll place a Porker Popper. And I think you place a Taunt. But you place at least two things, so you're placing lots of debuffs when you evade. Prowess Build Up. This one's a fun one. If they have 3 Prowess buffs or passives, all of their specials are passively unblockable until the Prowesses are removed. Bishop's Prowesses are pretty much never removed. Apocalypse, his Prowess are never removed. And he starts with 2 Prowesses. You add Superior Specials, which is a 3rd Prowess, and he's unblockable on all special attacks. I like Bishop and Apocalypse here a lot if you can't ghost them. The only reason that Kitty Pryde and Professor X and Nimrod and Havoc aren't good here is just because these two are just so much better, and that's the only reason they're really good there. And if I go to this one, the other Prowess buildup, they decided to add Hard Knock Life because they were like, this isn't hard enough. So when you parry, you're gonna get like a disorient. So Apocalypse is even better here. Takes away the counter of Guardian, and Guardian would be a really good counter here. So it takes away Guardian as a counter, and so now your options are Tigra, which is your best option. There are a couple more that I was thinking of, but Tigra is your big number 1 option. Spider-Gwen, but you have to kill him quick because your ability to dodge the unblockables will fade over time. So Spider-Gwen is your 3rd option. Your 2nd option is Miles Morales. So if you have, if you want to take a rank 3 Apocalypse with a Miles Morales, like, that's fine. You'll probably be okay, but it would still be a problem. You could never parry. So you'd have to play fully intercepting, and it'd be an interesting time. I would love to see it, and it'd be a really impressive fight. But I would, without a doubt, place Apocalypse here. Like, no question, I would place Apocalypse here. No question, I would place Bishop over here. Ebb and Flow Intercept. Place people that are hard to intercept. So Nova, Thor Ragnarok, MODOK, Kitty Pryde, Domino, just because she sucks. Pretty standard. Vigor, node is pretty useless. Just put people with huge health pools and pray that Vigor keeps proccing, but useless node. Just nuke it down, not hard. Strike counter, block penetration. It's same as the strike counter Fury, but with block penetration, like, pretty easy. Hard Knock Life is just the same parry thing, where if you parry, you get a debuff, a disorient, passive, not a debuff. Some lovely champions here that just hit hard. They're pretty much the first 2 are anti-torch, and they're just like, it'll be a hard time. Chitinous Thorns, which is if they have a armor up, you get bled. Place people with armor ups that are also hard. Pretty simple. Spite, Rise to Powers if you knock them down for, I believe it's 4 seconds after they get a lot more power from making contact with you. So Domino, Havoc, because countering Havoc with Spite could potentially be an issue. There are ways to get around it. I've doomed that fight. It's not that bad. I doomed it back when it was powerful from afar, just heavy and steal the power. It was a really interesting one. He detonated his plasma on me once, but it was okay and it was pretty safe. But they changed the node. You could just bring in Havoc here against Havoc and you'd be okay. But no, this Spite node could be a problem. I've laid out some pretty good counters. Penny Parker could be pushed to special too. Mysterio with Spite is a really fun time and everybody would love that. Buff imbalance, pretty basic. Path 8 pretty much sucks, to be honest. It's pretty garbage nodes. Like, nobody really dies to Path 8. Hazard Shift, they switched Section 2. Instead of being Window of Opportunity Stun, they made it Hazard Shift to Shock and Bleed, which means Kingpin. It means Quake for the second node only, and it means Nebula. Nebula would destroy it. Oh, and Thing. Thing would do really well against it. But Hazard Shift, Magneto with one eye open, because he's always going to be heavying and being annoying, and you can't really stun him. Spider-Gwen, if Ghost is banned, also would be a problem. Professor X, if you can't stun him. Gilly 99, if you can't heavy her. Like, these could all be problems. Steady Unblockable, we've gone over these. Basically, Havoc. Oh my god, he's unblockable. Crumbling Armor, it nullifies the armor up that protects you from the plasma, right? Void, oh, he's unblockable, and that Crumbling Armor is taking me down. Man-Thing, he's unblockable? I mean, that's the whole thing, but with Mystic Dispersion, could actually be a problem. Ebb and Flow Intercept, Mighty Charge, so for Thing, it would shrug off the slow. If you were doing something with a slow, it would shrug off Tigra's Ruptures. If you were being ballsy with Tigra, pretty basic stuff, same stuff as before, but with Mighty Charge. And you're going to see that same thing here with Crumbling Armor. I mean, it's the same thing except with Crumbling Armor, so Void would be harder. Then we have the Prowess Build Up, which we already went over. Buffet, people who would be annoying with Buffet. So Korg, Hyperion, Jabari Panther, maybe Apocalypse, but not as big of a deal. But Korg I really like here. Under Pressure is the same as No Retreat. If you dash back twice in a short span, you'll get a Disorient. And on top of that, there's more block penetration to be had. Annihilus could work. Just let that Disorient happen. Just do the thing where you sidestep him and drop a light attack on his face. You'll be okay. You can also just like use Claire and nullify it or whatever. Explosive Personality. This one's pretty standard as well. It's not that hard of a node, but it's pretty easy to mess up on. It's one of those ones that'll catch you, but you can't really make it always hard. Kinetic Transference, pretty standard stuff. Bishop, Mojo, and Ebony Maw with your bands are going to be pretty hard. Same stuff for 45, except it's easier than 35 up here. But should be pretty hard node. Hazard Shift, just try to make them not easy to Nebula, pretty much, or not easy to Thing. Strike counter, but also with Buffet and Chitinous Thorns. So Super Scroll works for all that stuff. He should be really fun if you ban Doom. Guardian, if you ban Doom and Magneto, would be really good. And same with Hulkbuster. If you're going to ban those two, Guardian and Hulkbuster could be really good for this. Really, really good. Kinetic Transference, people who you have to block. You see the theme. You want the counters to be countered by the nodes. So Mojo, Bishop, Apocalypse, maybe even Havoc and Dr. Doom. But especially those first three are going to be a big problem. Now we're on to the mini-boss island. So return policy, if you nullify it, they get power. Rage is if you hit 2.5% of their max health or more in one hit, they get a Fury. Nimrod is really good here because you can't nullify his stuff, or he'll get a ton of power. Vision Arcus is good here, kind of, if you get rid of Doom, but you could still clear it. Clairvoyant, so it's not, like, that hard. But he could be good if people are stupid and don't bring a good counter. Hulkbuster could be a problem here if you can't Doom it. I would just place Nimrod here and be done with it, but Hulkbuster, T-Rex, Vision Arcus, they're all good options. Hazard Shift. Ghost pretty much dominated Hazard Shift along with Red Hulk, so the real question is, what can you not Red Hulk here? What can you not Quake here? And that answer is Mangog, and that answer is Killmonger to an extent. You can Quake Killmonger. I mean, it'd be very impressive if you could. It's not undoable. It's very possible, but that's a difficult one. Apocalypse could be really difficult. How would I take this? I would bring in Penny Parker, probably. and just like play it slow and just bring in Penny Parker and just hit him slowly. That would be a problem. But I would still place Mangog here. But this node is going to get a lot harder once they ban Ghost. A lot harder. Vigorous Assault, Safeguard, pretty standard stuff. Weapon X and Bishop. The only reason I'd place Weapon X here over Bishop is because Bishop has better nodes. Bishop is an objectively better placement, but Weapon X is better for this node because you want to save Bishop for something else. Combat Deja Vu, which is the Mixmaster one. Prowess Puncture, which is if they have a prowess, they block penetrate you. Conflictor is Masochism, but with power gain. This one could actually be pretty hard. It's mostly just put in champions that are, like, difficult, I guess. I mean, like, these are all really good champions. I don't know how to explain how this will be hard. I think it's going to add a lot of extra complexity, and that'll make it difficult. The boss isn't even really that hard. I don't know why. I wish it was a lot harder. But put in really difficult bosses, and you might do okay. Stunning Reflection. A lot of people like placing Penny Parker here, but people just Venom pull right through that. I really like Terrax here. MODOK, if you ban Magneto, could be a problem. You could just use Nick Fury, but for some reason people don't like doing that. I don't know why. But yeah, that should be a good node. And then Aspect of Evolution, improve power gain, Mangog again. But I'd probably place Sorcerer Supreme because you want to place Mangog here. But Mangog's really good here too. But I'd place Mangog. I'd either do one of two things. I'd place Mangog on 49, Sorcerer on 54, or I'd place like Mangog here and Killmonger or Apocalypse on 49. Maybe Killmonger because he'll need Apocalypse somewhere else. So it can either be Killmonger Mangog or Mangog Sorcerer Supreme. Brute Force, Limber, Spry, Spider-Ham could be really good here. Domino could be good here. Can't ghost him anymore. Yeah, so overall, place people that are really hard to counter. And then on top of that, put them on a node that makes them even harder to counter. I would definitely ban Torch every single war. I would definitely ban Ghost every single war. If you want to ban Archangel, you want to ban Doom, either one's okay. Ban these two. Please ban these two. Either one of these is fine. Just pick it right for your defense. Pick right for your defense. That's all. But yeah, so this is just an idea. If you want this sheet, please, I will leave my line in the description. I might pin it in a comment. Like, I will send you this sheet. But I hope this helps you like think about how to place in war and how to like really make it difficult to counter. Thank you so much for watching, and go get a whole bunch of defense kills. All right, thank you.